Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to be doing a deep dive today on assessment practices and
Cool.
how they've been changing in 2024.
Sure.
We've got some really fascinating notes here from National University's School of Health Professions.
Yeah, they've been doing some really interesting stuff. And the way they decided to explore this whole topic is kind of unique.
Yeah, like through these fireside chats.
Yeah,
It's not like your typical academic conference.
Right. They brought in a really diverse group of people
Yeah.
to have these like kind of cozy, informal conversations about assessment.
Like we're talking K-12 educators, assessment experts, even an author.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Definitely not what I expected.
Yeah, a great way to get different perspectives.
Totally. So we've got notes from 3 of these chats.
Wow.
We'll kind of break it down for you.
I think this is going to be really interesting for anyone who's curious about the future of education.
For sure, whether you're a student, an educator, or just someone who likes to learn new things.
Right.
So let's jump right in with the first seminar, which was called Reinvigorating Assessment in Higher Education. And this session kicked off with Dr. Michael Myers, and it sounds like he was picking up on a sense of, I don't know, like assessment fatigue or something.
Yeah, among some faculty.
Yeah.
You know how it is, like keeping faculty and inspired and engaged with assessment can be a challenge.
For sure, especially when they've already got so much on their plates.
Right, exactly.
So that's where Dr. Cynthia Sistek comes in.
Okay.
She is a really big name in student-centered assessment and how to integrate technology into that.
That's cool. I'm curious about her background.
Oh, yeah, it's actually really interesting.
Okay.
She started out as an elementary school teacher
Oh, wow.
and then moved into online education.
Interesting.
So she's got kind of a unique perspective, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And she really hit the ground running in the seminar, talking about how important formative assessment is.
Formative assessment. Can you remind me what that is again?
It's basically like understanding how students are doing as they're learning. Oh, okay.
Not just at the end of a semester when it's too late.
Oh, so you can actually provide support along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
Instead of just, realizing at the end of the semester that they didn't understand something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sistek actually said it's like giving students a GPS for their learning journey.
I like that analogy.
Right.
Makes it really clear.
And she also isn't a big fan of just relying on traditional tests.
Oh, so what does she suggest instead?
She's more into like a diverse approach.
Okay, like what?
So think like quick reflections, discussions, interactive activities, stuff like that.
Stuff that lets them show what they know in a more engaging way.
Right.
Yeah, I can see how that would be more effective.
It's about making assessment part of the learning process, not just this scary separate thing.
Right, like a high-stakes event that everyone dreads.
Exactly.
I've definitely been there.
And of course, we can't talk about assessment without talking about feedback.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Sistek was really clear about this. Feedback needs to be meaningful, not just a grade.
Yeah, it's got to be more than just a letter or a number.
Students need to understand what they did well and what they can improve.
So it's about helping them understand why they got something right or wrong and how to get better.
Exactly.
That's really important.
Now, she actually told this interesting story about when she tried to implement rubrics in the past.
Oh, rubrics. I've had mixed experiences with those.
Yeah, she found that if you don't have clear expectations and like a supportive environment,
Okay.
rubrics can actually make things worse
Really?
because they can create anxiety instead of clarity.
Yeah. I can see that happening if they're not used well.
It's all about how you present it, right?
It's like the whole culture around assessment.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like a punishment. It should be a tool that helps students learn and grow.
Now, one of the things that came up in the seminar was how challenging it can be to get faculty really involved in assessment.
Yeah, that makes sense. It seems like they need more resources and support.
Yeah, like clearer guidelines, maybe
Yeah.
even more recognition for what they do.
Definitely.
Oh, before we move on, I have to tell you this story that Sistek shared.
Okay.
It's about a young boy,
Okay.
and he built this really elaborate Rube Goldberg machine.
Oh, those are so cool.
I know, and when it finally worked, he was just beaming.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it wasn't about being perfect, it was about the joy of figuring it out.
I love that.
And she used that story to remind everyone that learning should be an adventure.
We shouldn't be afraid to let students experiment and even mess up sometimes.
It's all about fostering that love of learning
Totally.
and, that sense of accomplishment when you finally get it.
I like that a lot.
So speaking of different perspectives,
Yeah.
the second seminar takes us into the world of K-12 education.
Oh, cool.
And the person leading this one was Elizabeth Murray. She's got tons of experience teaching in all different places, including Singapore.
Singapore. Wow. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, me too.
What was the focus of this seminar?
So it was all about looking at assessment through this K-12 lens.
Okay.
And she tackled some really big issues like the whole problem with reading comprehension that's popping up in college students.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
And she also talked about the impact of military life on education.
Wow, a lot to unpack there.
All right, ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
Uh,
Okay, so how does she approach the reading comprehension issue?
Well, one of the things she talked about was modeling good reading behavior.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah, especially for younger learners.
Yeah, if they see their teacher enjoying a book,
Right.
it makes a difference.
It shows them that reading isn't just a chore.
Exactly.
Like, it's actually something you can enjoy doing.
Yeah, makes sense.
And she also encourages teachers to get kids discussing and making connections to what they're reading.
Yeah.
It's about going beyond just the words on the page.
Right.
You know, like making them think critically.
So they can apply to their own lives. Exactly. Makes it more relevant.
Yeah. And Murray is also a big fan of using technology in the classroom,
Oh, that's good.
like using videos and interactive stuff
Okay.
to bring the learning to life.
Yeah, especially for different types of learners.
Right. Opens up all sorts of new possibilities.
Okay.
Now, she also shared some really cool insights about the Singapore education system.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to hear more about that.
So apparently they have a major exam in 6th grade
Okay.
that determines which high school track kids will be on.
Oh, wow. That's pretty intense.
It is, but it's interesting to think about,
Like,
like the pros and cons of a system like that. Like,
Yeah.
they're known for their high academic achievement,
yeah.
but there's also got to be a lot of pressure on those kids.
Right. That's true. It's like
Yeah.
there's no perfect system.
Right. Every system has its trade-offs.
Right.
It's all about finding the right balance.
Exactly.
So what else did she talk about with assessment?
Well, she's a firm believer in going beyond traditional tests.
So she likes to use real-world projects
That's interesting.
that let students use what they've learned.
Yeah, I like that, like hands-on activities.
It gives them a chance to show their skills and knowledge.
So they can solve problems and think creatively.
Right. And one thing that really impressed me about her approach
Yeah.
is how much emphasis she puts on building relationships with her students.
I think that's so important,
Right.
especially nowadays.
Yeah. Like she suggested simple things like greeting students by name,
Yeah.
asking about their interests,
Right.
and providing personalized feedback.
All those little things can really add up.
Yeah, they make the students feel seen.
Exactly.
And she was very clear that this is just as important in online settings.
Oh, totally.
Like, technology doesn't have to create distance.
In fact, it can be used to bring people closer together.
Right. It's all about how you use it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, she also touched on the difficulties military families face,
Okay.
especially with all the moving around.
Yeah, it's got to be tough on kids.
It makes it hard to have consistency in their education.
Definitely.
And she really stressed how important flexibility is for those students.
So educators need to be understanding of their unique situations and make adjustments as needed.
So are we ready to move on to the last seminar?
Absolutely. Bring it on.
Okay, so for this one, we're joined by Dr. Heather Hussey.
Okay.
She's the Associate Vice President of Assessment and Planning at National University.
Wow. Impressive title.
She actually recently won an award for outstanding service to the university.
Wow. That's great.
I know, well-deserved, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And this seminar was different.
Oh, how so?
Well, they used breakout rooms
Oh, interesting.
to get feedback from everyone on assessment tools and processes.
That's a great way to get people engaged.
Yeah, it wasn't just listening to a lecture.
Okay.
It was a real discussion.
I like that interactive approach.
And one of the big things that came out of those discussions was the need for more faculty and staff involvement in assessment.
Right. It can't just be a top-down thing.
Yeah. It's got to be collaborative. And they also talked about the need for more data and better technology to track student progress.
Makes sense.
It's about using data to make better decisions.
And to figure out what's working and what's not.
Exactly.
So you can continuously improve.
Right. But it's not just about collecting data.
Yeah.
It's about understanding what it means
Right.
and using it to give useful feedback to faculty.
That's where the real challenge comes in.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to translate data into actionable insights.
Now, there were some interesting suggestions that came out of the breakout sessions.
Oh, like what?
Well, some people were really into the idea of portfolio-based and project-based assessments.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, they give students a chance to show what they know in a more well-rounded way.
Instead of just relying on multiple choice tests,
Exactly.
it's a more authentic way to assess their learning.
And of course, no conversation about assessment would be complete without mentioning AI.
Oh, right. AI is everywhere these days.
It's really changing the game in education.
In what ways?
Well, it can personalize learning experiences,
Okay.
streamline assessments,
Right.
and give more targeted feedback.
Yeah, but it also raises a lot of questions.
Right.
Like, how do we use AI ethically and responsibly?
It's a lot to consider.
It's a powerful tool,
Yeah.
but we need to be careful with it.
Yeah, but the good news is that Hussey's team is already working on developing assessment seminars
Oh, wow.
that incorporate all the faculty input they got.
That's great. They're actually listening to what people need.
Yeah, it shows they're committed to making assessment work for everyone.
I like that.
So we've learned a lot today about how assessment is evolving.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Right, from the importance of formative assessment
Yes.
to the power of technology.
Right.
And the need for collaboration.
It seems like the world of assessment is becoming more dynamic and student-centered.
It is, and I'm really curious, what's sticking with you after hearing all this?
Yeah, what stands out as the most important takeaway?
What's got you thinking differently about assessment?
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired after all that.
Me too. It's like we're seeing this real shift happening in
Yeah.
how people are thinking about assessment.
It's not just a way to measure what students know anymore.
Right, it's more about helping them learn and grow.
Exactly.
And giving teachers the tools to support them.
Yeah, think about all that stuff Sistek was saying about formative assessment,
Right, it's like you said, giving students a GPS.
about making sure everyone stays on track.
And it's not just in higher ed either.
Right.
I mean, Murray was talking about the same things in
Yeah.
K-12.
It's really about creating the right environment.
Yeah, where students can experiment and make mistakes without feeling scared.
And where they feel supported.
And one of the biggest takeaways for me is how important collaboration is.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just about teachers doing their own thing.
It's about working together.
Right, faculty, staff, students, everyone's got to be on board.
Like those fireside chats at National University.
Yeah, what a great way to bring people together and get them talking.
Exactly.
So it's bigger than just education, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's about how our whole society values learning.
Yeah, we're moving away from rote memorization
Right.
and standardized tests.
It's about critical thinking and problem solving.
The skills people actually need to succeed in the real world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah,
it really makes you think.
it does.
Like, how can we all support this shift toward more meaningful assessment?
It's a big question.
It is, but what if we all started thinking about assessment differently?
Okay.
Not as a way to judge students,
Right.
but as a way to help them grow.
It's about seeing assessment as an opportunity.
Yeah, an opportunity for everyone to learn and improve.
Yeah, I love that.
So thanks for joining us on this exploration of assessment.
It's been a great conversation.